You cannot claim to be the United Nations while disregarding the voice of 54 nations. It is not possible.
Do you know that Muammar Gaddafi once gave a speech at the United Nations? His first and his last. That was in 2009. Normally, world leaders are allowed only 15 minutes to speak, but Gaddafi spoke for 96 minutes, and in those 96 minutes, he shook the very foundations of the UN. From the beginning, he did not waste time on diplomacy. He went straight to the truth. He said the UN Security Council was not a council of peace. It was not a council of justice. It was a dictatorship of 5 countries, 5 nations who used it for their own benefit, while the rest of the world was left powerless. He told them clearly, how can there be equality among nations when the destiny of billions of people is decided by the veto of a few? That is not democracy. That is domination. He attacked the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He called them illegal wars, crimes against humanity. Wars that killed children, destroyed families, and left nations in ruins. He looked at the same leaders who defended these wars, and he told them to their faces, you destroyed these countries, not in the name of justice, but in the name of power. Then came the most dramatic moment of all. Gaddafi lifted up the UN Charter itself, the very book of promises, meant to guarantee peace, security, and equality for all nations. He read from it, and then, in anger, he tossed it aside. Because those words had been betrayed, those promises had been broken, he showed the world that the UN had become an institution of hypocrisy. And he did not stop there. He demanded investigations into the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. Why? Because even in America, the voices that spoke of truth and justice were silenced by bullets. He demanded compensation for Africa. Not in millions, not in billions, but in trillions of dollars. He said Europe had stolen Africa's wealth for centuries. Colonialism had bled the continent dry, and if the world was serious about justice, it was time to pay Africa back. Not as aid, not as charity, but as repayment for what was stolen. Then he touched the issue no one wanted to hear, Palestine. He said peace would never come through endless negotiations. It would never come through walls and bombs. His solution was simple but bold. One state, a single country where Palestinians and Israelis lived together with equal rights, a nation he called Isra'tine. Some delegates clapped, others walked out, some laughed at him, others were silent. But no one could ignore him. Because that day Gaddafi said what many leaders think, but fear to speak. He exposed the injustice of the international system. He exposed the hypocrisy of the powerful.